Notice of public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene a workshop, an executive session, and a regular meeting on Tuesday, March the 15th, 2011, at 5 p.m., 5:40 p.m., and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall, Old Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Workshop item number 1, letter A, discussion regarding the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation project funding recommendations for fiscal year 2011.
Dr. Barrera, you have the floor.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem and City Commission, I'm Delina Barrera with the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation. We're coming back another year for the fiscal year 2011 projects. Again, the funding applications guidelines were reviewed by the BCIC board. The application was released on September 23rd. It was due on December 15th, and the BCIC board reviewed the applications. These are the applications that will be recommended for funding as is required by 4B corporations. A public hearing was held on March 7th, 2011, and again, this is the presentation we're doing for City Commission for approval for the recommendations. Again, the applications, there was 1.4 million in requests. There was 348,210 originally in the budget. After review, detailed review of the budget, the board decided that they would like to add more funding, given the projects that had come in, and so it was increased to 660,500. The first project is the Historic Brownsville Museum Roof Project. Again, it's to protect historical artifacts and to minimize further deterioration to this historic building. The request was for $188,000. The recommended funding is for $150,000. Again, you'll see this is the roof there at the Historic Brownsville Museum, and you can see some of the deterioration that's already taking place on the interior of the building. The Market Square El Mercado project, this is planned to be post-bus, the Brownsville Urban System relocation to their new facility. Again, the benefit is to try to restore Market Square and the revitalization of downtown. The request for was $188,912. What was recommended is $100,000. This would allow the people who are involved in this project to start the project and work on demolition and some of the exterior. Again, just giving a little bit of background, this is actually the original Market Square in 1850. This is the one that most people recognize, but this is actually the one after the 1867 hurricane remodeling. This is the current one, and what you're looking at, a lot of the exterior work is also trying to restore back the arches, the archways of this particular building. Project application is the Camille Playhouse Improvements Project. It's actually the City of Brownsville. We're working in conjunction with the Brownsville Historical Association and also the University of Texas at Brownsville, coordinating to restore this building so that we can have as many different entities involved as a cooperative effort.
So the City of Brownsville is making the request?
Yes, sir.
On behalf of BHA and everyone else?
Right. Yes, sir.
Was there a reason for that?
Because of the different parties that needed to be involved in coordinating this request, it was deemed easier to just have the City of Brownsville apply. The Camille Playhouse improvements, the project is for the AC and the electrical benefits, again, to try to reduce utility costs to the city and increase comfort for the patrons. The request was $105,000, recommended was $100,000. Again, the concern here is a lot of the outdated equipment in this particular building, and in order to be able to update the air condition, they need to update the electrical. The Paredes Cassell Trail project, again, this project is post-Morrison Road completion. The Morrison Road project is currently underway. It started this last month. Again, it's recreational. It tries to extend the trail network, health and safety. Again, what was requested was $465,300, and the thought there was to do a concrete type trail. Again, because of funding limitations, what was recommended is $100,000. One of the things that was done here is the length will be reduced. We'll use asphalt instead of concrete, and the work to be done will be in-house versus contracted.
And who's applying?
The City of Brownsville. And so what we are at this point in time is they believe, given the funding as far as doing the job in-house and changing it to asphalt, they believe they can probably get about 2/3 of this trail done. Then it will go into the Morrison Road, where it will be marked as a bike lane and connect on the bike lane that's currently on Pablo Casel.
Dr. Barrera,
Yes, sir.
I currently have a project going on within my district where we're taking millings from Pablo Casel and other streets that are being constructed at the moment, and we're putting them into the alleyways. And through Public Works, we're using an oil, DRP
Mm-hmm.
is the name of the solution. And maybe I'd invite you all to go out and see the project, if you ask Martino or Santana, to take you out and see it. It's very cost effective, and I believe that, it'll also help with the cost and what you're proposing and planning on doing here. And it's a very solid base material.
One of the things here again, what we also have to do in regards to this project is we're currently working also with the Cameron County Irrigation District to work out or to ensure that there are not any liability issues. So we've been checking into other cities to see what they do. And given that this will be post-Morrison, it gives us a lot of times to work out all of those different issues. But they have been quite cooperative and very positive about this project. The bicycle project, the benefit here is recreational. It extends bicycle network of health and safety. A request was $97,881, recommended is $70,000. For this project, we're looking at pavement markings, bicycle signage, bollard and stop signs for the old railroad track. And this is the one that's running from Palm Boulevard to Skinner Elementary. Now, at this point in time, what we have done, taken a proactive stance and did submit an application to Texas Parks and Wildlife to actually pave this portion of the project. One of the things on this particular area that we're having occur ever since the railroad was pulled out is that you have a mixture of individuals that makes it very dangerous for the pedestrians and cyclists, and we've also had some dumping occurring. So we need to try to get this area so that we can make it a walkway so that people can be able to use it for recreational, and then it'll connect up to the park that's located on Palm Boulevard. The playground equipment project, the benefit again is safe recreational area. They requested $70,000. The recommendation was for $70,000. Again, these are playground equipment in both Morningside Park and Lincoln Park. One of the concerns that was brought up about Morningside is, what about ADA accessibility? We checked with individuals who are very proactive in the city about that. They felt comfortable in stating that the city has been very good about putting in playgrounds that are ADA, and so they felt that this would be okay, given that the city is way above any requirements for ADA. The pool facilities project, the benefit is sun protection and reduced risk to heat-related injuries. Requested was $50,510. Recommended is $41,000. Again, this is to try to get lifeguard stands and to try to get coverage for the lifeguards and to try to cover provide some shade protection in the pool area. The commemorative Air Force roof project phase 4, again, the benefit is to reinforce, prolong, and enhance use of as a vintage aircraft and artifacts display museum facility. The request was for $50,000, recommended is $25,000. Again, the airport director also believes for this particular project they will be able to get some matching funds. The Brownsville Biggest Loser project, on the Brownsville Biggest Losers, they are having a Guinness World Record Zumba competition, and so what they're asking is for some funding for the adjudication services from the Guinness World Record individuals. Again, benefit here, it's a public park event that does promote a healthy city for Brownsville, which has become very critical as individuals look at cities that they would like to be able to establish themselves. Request is for $6,000, recommended is $4,500. Again, this is the world's largest Zumba class. It's going to be held Saturday, April 30th at the sports park. Questions?
Delaney, could you provide a breakdown, not right now, but at some point, just listing Air Force, Camille, the museum, Biggest Loser as separate entities from the city? So what those were funded in total versus city projects that were funded in total?
Okay. Yeah, and
Later on, email,
Okay. Yeah, and I do have that information where it's segregated out as far as all the different entities and what has been done to assist And again, because of different issues, sometimes it's the city of Brownsville that will apply as a coordinating entity.
Make sure you include the collaborators, even though they're city projects like the market, for example, make sure you include the collaborators for the commissioners to see.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Delina, did Parks submit, we've been working on this, there was a 4B project that was gonna be submitted a while ago, and it was a giant screen type of deal. Was that submitted by
There were
Parks for
two-
funding?
Yeah.
There were two projects that that we did not fund. One was the big screen, because Chris, I don't know, is Chris here today? I think he left, was not sure himself about what size he wanted.
Really?
So he wanted to go back and check on that. The second was shade structures for the Veterans Park. And again, he wanted more time to look at that, to make sure that it was going to be in keeping with the beauty of the park and not disruptive, et cetera, et cetera. So the board explained to him that we wanted him to come back to us with those items.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Barrera.
Thanks, Doug.
Item B.
Item B, discussion regarding the Brownsville Sports Parks improvements.
Again, Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, City Commission, I'm just bringing this update so that you can be aware of what is going on at the sports park for these improvements that were funded for the UIL Regional State Tournament that will be held here in April. Again, the critical issue there was to try to ensure that we had the adequate number of bleachers. The reason that the sports park was chosen for the facility is because it's the only facility in the valley that actually has a regulation-sized soccer field. And this kind of shows you an overview of the site. What you'll notice over by the lake, that's where the bleacher projects are going in. Even at this point in time, you can see them both from 511 and the expressway. What I want to point out here is also you see the bleachers that are located on the west side. Those were then moved to, these are 3 of the bleachers prior to removal, and what happened is we moved those to the other side. So then we have seating at that particular location. Again, this is just kind of a timeline as they've been progressing on the work at the sports park. You see the dressing room foundation of February 22nd. Again, you can see the bleacher pilings that were already in by February 22nd. And you will note over to your right-hand side the larger pilings. That's to allow a free flow of individuals as they come out of the bleachers from the center. Again, you can see the materials that were being brought in on the 22nd, the unloading of those materials. And here you will also see the fixture that was located there. What was done, again, in order to save costs, is that the fixtures have been taken down. They are being stored to then be put back on the structure itself. On the 23rd, there was a site meeting that was held at the actual location of the construction. You can see already on the 23rd, they start working quite quickly on the bleacher structure. On the 26th, they start working on the dressing room. And you can see by the 26th, they've already got the framework, or have begun the framework already for the roof that will go over the center section, the larger section of the bleachers. Again, you're looking here at the 26th as they're installing this. It's like a jigsaw puzzle that they're putting together. Again, you'll note at the right on the 26th where this area has not been done yet. And this is kind of an underview. Again, what has been funded is 1 set of concessions and 1 set of restrooms. However, the areas are being prepped in the future if and when either funding becomes available or we're able to locate funding to try to get additional bleachers and additional concessions and restrooms. Again, here the 28th, you're seeing some quick progression of the bleachers. These are dressing rooms on March 7th, where the walls are already going up. And one of the things that we do like about what they did in this design is they've got an extra wide walkway coming on and off. Again, the seating is for approximately 4,000. Okay, so March 7th, you can see the roof structure has been more extensively built up, and this is what you can see. At March 7th, you can see this is visible both from the expressway and from 511. Again, the dressing room, the work continues on the dressing rooms as they're putting in the blocks for the different restroom stalls. Again, here you can see how all the steps are already in, and they're filling out all the different bleachers in this particular project. Okay. Here we have, and this is on both sides, which is the ramps that come down on each side on the 14th. Again, the crew did get here on Sunday to start working on the roof. However, due to high winds, they had to wait, and they started quite early morning on Monday to go ahead and put the roof in.
Dr. Barrera, I had in seeing this, being a former, three of us here are two former and a current chair on the VCIC board. A lot of times people don't see what has occurred at the sports park, what's occurring at the sports park. We just finished speaking to a gentleman that asked us for a facility that would hold 100,000 people on a weekend. The purpose of the sports park, I'll reiterate, was not for local use per se. It was to bring in these types of tournaments, to bring in these types of events into the city so that they can help the economic tax base, so they can help what it is, in essence, that the 4A and the 4B are funding through their taxes. So I believe that once UIL comes in for this next competition, the people that are currently signing up, I don't know, Chris isn't here, so I wouldn't, I'd venture just to say city manager, you would probably later on, but that we keep updating people through our website, through our channel, as to maybe events that are going on at the sports park that don't necessarily affect the local public, but that in essence, so that people can know that, the sports park is being utilized for what it was intended to do. It's intended for these types of events to come in and thus help the city of Brownsville, help its economic tax base, but at the same time. So by that means, this is incredible. You can tell that after people come for UIL, you see it. When you have these types of facilities and we have these types of structures, you'll see it be put to use. So thank you for that.
And again, I'd like to emphasize that, it's got the dual purpose. You see people out there early morning, walking, jogging, but it's also, they've been cooperating, and it's been quite useful. When the assistant superintendent with BISD gave an update on this project, he emphasized the fact that working very closely with the city on this, and in fact, it has been a great benefit to them, the sports park has, and they lease and use a facility for their types of events, and also UTB. So all the different entities are cooperating and being supportive of each other. And so it's a facility that, as is shown and as you were speaking, was needed in our community.
That's right.
I respect what you say, and I do not doubt that we've had excellent events at the sports park, and we'll continue to have great events there. At what point do we continue or cease funding for a project that affects other quality of life projects throughout the whole city? Because the majority of the funding does go to the sports park, undoubtedly. And we have several citywide quality of life projects that need some attention.
Like which ones?
Commissioner, I'm not sure, you got here late to the meeting, but the first item described, if you saw in your agenda,
I
what
did.
the 4B has been funding. So in essence, I can tell you that, other projects are being funded. Of course, like everything else, they need to follow.
Not as many as we have had in the
Well,
past, because
there
of the
are-
debt that the sports park has incurred.
As you are familiar, there is a process in applying for the funds, and those that have applied have been positively affected and have been positively funded. But it's also a matter of opinion, so we'll take it at that.
I would like to make a comment. Sorry, did you want to say something,
No.
Sharon? I totally understand, I respect both opinions and share both opinions, as you know. I would reassure you and the community that the current board is very aware of the needs out there and very much looking at the need for economic development so that these funds can increase, and very aware and promoting of the concept of more grant writing now that we have the 2 city grant writers, and more activity within 4B so that we can rely not just on the funds from sales tax, but also from funds generated from grant sources that we've never looked at before. So we are very much working towards that goal. On the other hand, you can't unbuild a park that is there, but I assure you it is certainly our intention to make sure that the park is available and productive and well managed, not just for the outside events, but also for our own children and our everyday people.
And just to add to that, I was handed, we're meeting with some people that feed thousands of people, kids in Texas. This one gentleman who runs a program called WAG, is We Are Graduating, which they go and seek out low-income areas. And they'll feed about 10,000 to 20,000 people in Brownsville, hopefully this summer. It's state funds, grant monies, promoting a healthier lifestyle for these children in our communities. So if we, and he met with Charlie Cadler today, they feed 300,000 people in the state of Texas right now, and they want to feed an extra 20,000 in Brownsville this summer. And I think I talked to you when he was in town back a month ago, and they'll feed these kids breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and in healthy ways. And all they need from the city is just facilities to feed these kids. And one of the places is the Brownsville Sports Park, where they can not only feed these kids, but also exercise and do a lot of activities. So, you know, I mean, I've heard it all over the blogs about how this sports park is a money pit. I mean, I beg to differ, and everybody has a right to their opinion. But when you see 3,000 kids out there playing on a regular basis, exercising, how can you say that's a bad thing? I just don't agree with it. The amount of funding from BCIC and why a lot of people aren't applying for BCIC funding anymore is because we've helped everybody. All these people that we gave a push to from when Rick was there and I was there, and we've helped all these nonprofits get to where they're sustaining themselves without the city help. The reason you're not getting the numbers of people applying for these things is because we've helped everybody already. So, and don't get me wrong, there are more people who could want to stand and come before the BCIC, but if they don't have the will and the power to do it, we're not gonna go feed them a lot of money if they're not gonna come and apply and go through the process the right way. And then that's the bottom line. And I'm sorry, but Dr. Gina Barrera, she is strict on how you apply for these funds because we're being tracked.
Because we
and
don't have much
audited.
funding to provide.
No, it's not. That's not the case.
Yes, it
That
is the
means
case.
you can have your opinion, but you don't know because you're not there.
There were over
You
$1
can-
million in requests this time around.
Whatever reason. I mean, but bottom line, this board is going to do and help out any way it can, all right? But to say that the sports park is not something you want, well, you know what?
No, I didn't say that.
You know what? You know, I'm not even going to argue with you.
No one's arguing.
Mr. Cifuentes, was your comment relevant to the discussion today? Correct, sir. But is your comment that you want to make, you can approach the bench, is it relevant to what we're discussing with the 4B?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Francisco Cifuentes. I'm a proud resident of Brownsville, Texas for the past 25, 26 years. I want to thank you for this opportunity. The pictures look so beautiful. We are talking about millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars to improve the quality of life of the citizens of Brownsville mainly. But I want to tell you, and not only the commissioner who is on my precinct, but all the commissioners at large and everybody else, that it is a shame that some families live in colonial conditions. They don't have wastewater. They were annexed 14 years ago, and they still don't have wastewater, but we have so many millions of dollars brought into so many projects, and I came before Ms. Selena Barrera, and they don't qualify. These projects don't qualify to better the quality of
Mr.
life.
Cifuentes.
What are we talking about, quality
The
of
projects
life?
that you're speaking about specifically, I've inquired in the past also.
That-
Now, all of those monies, that's the reason why Cameron County hasn't given us access to Cameron Park. That's why in Southmost, we don't have access to Villa Pancho, because the county receives Colonia monies for that. The city can apply for those Colonia monies specifically for the issues at hand that you're bringing about, but the city in essence can't apply for those because that's the county has those properties.
I'm
that
sorry,
qualify.
sir, I'm sorry. These people they're in the city of, they pay taxes to the city of Brownsville. They are in the city of Brownsville 14 years ago. They were annexed to the city of Brownsville. And we have 4.5 years, according to state law, we have 4.5 years to provide the basic services. Somebody dropped the ball. Somebody did not get the funding. Somebody did not. They want to do it now. They want to start now, 14 years later after they were annexed. This is in Brownsville, Texas,
Mr.
not
Cifuentes.
the county. This is Brownsville, Texas.
But what you're referring to, in essence, to your request on there, does not fall within the qualifications or within
It
the
does not
realms.
qualify for the
Within the realms of
Yes.
what 4B, although 4B is established for quality of life.
Quality of life.
Those particular projects do not qualify.
You're
Therefore,
correct.
we would need to seek, if the city were to be involved, because those properties are within the city of Brownsville, then we would need to look through different revenue, either through our general fund or for specific items, but either through a 4A, through a 4B, unless it's through a 4A project, for anything that would have to do with maybe what's
Mayor Pro Tem,
the zones on 511. If it would have to do anything with something of a big infrastructure coming in, then it would qualify. But for this, we need to seek other avenues of
We
funding.
need to find the
Mayor Pro-
funding because 14 years
correct.
later, these people need to be, there is a quality of life project to me. To my
Correct.
understanding, it's a quality of life. It will be improve the quality of life of these families. We need to provide that funding for wherever you can find it.
Mr.
Thank you.
Cifuentes, you are right. It is a quality of life project. And as we spoke, and you spoke to staff earlier this afternoon, an official letter is being sent to PUB to notify them of their responsibility to take in and address the needs of the water issues of Charmaine, the area you and I have spoken of, and the same issue you mentioned, Mayor, months ago. So I can tell you that the city is doing due diligence to officially notify PUB of their responsibility, and we will work accordingly with them to ensure that this is dealt with in a timely manner. And so we've shared the discussions, and we're proceeding forward on that much deserving quality of life issue.
These people waited 14 years already. I think 20 more years is going to be a little too late.
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Evans. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we'll continue with the next item.
Executive session.
You have someone who wishes to be recognized?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Champion?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm sorry to arrive here a little bit late, but I did get here at the tail end, so I heard part of it. I'm familiar with the sports park. Yes, we have received criticism in the past regarding the sports park, and some of it due, some of it undue. I can certainly recognize the need, and because I was there in its inception. Initially, the sports park was going to use $20 million. That was it. I remember because Mr. Dagoberto and I were here, and we discussed it with one of the commissioners. May you rest in peace, Dr. Joe Zavaleta. And I remember, if you remember correctly, it was what we used to bring down Olympics boxing, and that was the original intent. But the money was always going to be 20. 4 or 5 years later, it's at 42 million. You have to understand the frustration and the very fact that we haven't even found a sponsor, at least to name the park after. I mean, I find that a bit disturbing since we always market Brownsville, and we have all these people trying to bring business. I'm disturbed by the very fact that in all this time, not one sponsor was brought here. But yet I hear about all this marketing. I hear about all this money that's being spent. My God, 42 million, I go out there and I do not see my apologies. Maybe you can make a better way of showing the public, make a breakdown, see who was the initial bids, who got the contracts, and the overcost. And most important, why?
Fernando,
That's the question.
I
Why?
can tell you why. And I
You're
can
free,
give you
Rick.
the answers. When I came into the 4B in 2003, we were at 20 million, and we were at 18, right under it. Then we had the situation that happened with the gas explosion and with all the gas prices. We almost doubled in prices in cement, in steel, in barb, in services. And all of a sudden, the project that was already committed everything was already set to go. All of a sudden, our prices went through the roof. Now, I understand, I see your face and I understand why, but this project was already in hand. We weren't about to drop the ball on this project. This project
Not
was
in the
not
least,
about to fail.
Commissioner. Not in
So
the
we
least.
continued and we proceeded with it the best way that we possibly could, keeping in mind the fiscal budgets.
Understood,
I
understood,
would-
Commissioner. But you have to understand, when Mr. Cifuentes bring a point down like this, and he's asking for help, and you say, well, that isn't really our responsibility, Mr. Cifuentes, but at the same time, I have a committee here at the city of Brownsville that's called Brownsville United, which is supposed to consolidate all the needs, which are certainly there. And may I add, where I live off Coffeeport, it took me 33 years, I don't know through how many commissions I went through to finally get half a mile stretch of road fixed, over 30 years.
Who
And if
fixed
you
it
go
for
drive
you?
down that road now, and there's, at least I counted them today, there's over 21. From Old Port Isabel to the end of the street going toward Gonzales, there's 21 cuts. And that's been like that for 2 months. I've talked to business owners who are afraid that once they get the good rains come September, those pavements that they have to, after this, they had took a beating with the business. But the pavement that they're worried about that's gonna crack, and who's gonna pay for it on the way back? Once again, the taxpayers. Very, very disappointing, very disappointing. And I take no great pleasure by coming down here and having to remind you of your responsibilities and your promises that you made.
Well, let me
So,
tell.
as I said, thank you for your time and letting me speak.
Let me address something real quick, because that's my district. We did pave that street, remember?
I talked to you, Commissioner, I
Exactly.
talked to you.
And we did pave that street,
I
but
understood when I
listen
talked to
me.
you.
Listen to me. But right after that, the PUB got a lot of stimulus money to change the drainage underneath Coffeeport Road. So the mess you see over there, and trust me, we call PUB every other day asking them to hurry up, because it is a nuisance to the businesses there.
And the
But
hurricane season is
This was
coming.
$36 million that the stimulus money paid for, gave to PUB to fix all the drainage under there. So be patient. It's not the city of Brownsville, because trust me, if it was a city issue, those streets would be paved again. But,
PUB is a city,
well, it's a different entity.
It's a bastard.
by the city.
I'm gonna interrupt for just a second. We have totally
Whatever.
deviated from what this agenda item was.
Understood, Rick.
Thank you.
Understood.
Appreciate your
Thank you.
time. Thank you for your
Charlie,
comments.
thank you.
We'll talk to PUB again. Tell them to hurry up.
Ernesto, is your comment relevant to what the discussion at hand? Yes, sir.
Honorable City Commissioners, my name is Ernesto De Leon. Back when I was a commissioner, sitting where you're at, I brought that concept of the sports park from California. At that time, of course, we're talking about 12, 20 million. But needless to say, like you talked about, increase in steel, aluminum, oil, whatever, concrete, cement, whatever. It's gone up, but I guarantee you, at least you can say something that you've invested, that you can see. The 20-something million that nobody complains at the port, where are they? Nobody says anything about that. This is something that helps the city bring dollars into the community. And it helps the kids, the youth of this area. And there's not another one like it in the state of Texas. I don't know about the rest of the United States, but I'm proud of what you all are doing here. You're criticized right and left, and I appreciate your holding the baton and don't let it go. God
Thank
bless
you.
you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Can we move on to the next item, please?
Executive session, item A, discussion pursuant to section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code regarding economic development.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move that we go in executive executive session.
I have a motion by Commissioner Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Trani. All in favor, answer by saying aye. Aye. We'll be in executive session. Secretary, we do have a quorum present at this time. I'd like to continue with the meeting, and I'll ask everybody to please stand so that we can proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you please join me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I'd like to ask Rabbi Levy from the Traveling Christian Rabbi based in Brownsville, if you would please join us for the invocation. Rabbi, thank you for joining us.
Father, I'd just like to thank you, Father. Bless each one of these men here and ladies here, that your Holy Spirit be with them, that you strengthen them, and that your will be done. And then I'm going to give you guys a Hebraic blessing out of the Torah. Yivrechecha Yahweh vayishmorecha Yahweh Punavelecha Yishya Yahweh Punavelecha V'yasmin Lecha Shalom V'shem et Shemai al b'nei Yisrael ani Abraham. May Yahweh bless you. May Yahweh keep you. May He lift up His face upon you, and may His peace resonate within you. And upon you I've placed His name, that He Himself may step from the heavens and bless you. Amen.
There's no action required on the item in executive session. The mayor is not present, so he will not be given a report, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Charlie Atkinson, District 2 update.
I'm going to pass right now.
Commissioner Edward Camarillo, District 4 update.
I'm going to pass on my report. Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioner Rose Gowan on wellness.
Yes, I'd like to remind everyone that this Saturday we start a series of several Biggest Loser Challenge Saturday events sponsored by the different entities in Brownsville. This Saturday, the 19th, is a health fair that is sponsored by the Brownsville Community Health Clinic at the Dean Porter Park. And also Commissioner Troiani will be there with Kang's Taekwondo Academy. There will be many activities for the children and adults, health screenings, and come out and try your hand at some Taekwondo and enjoy the beautiful park.
Thank you, Commissioner Gowan. We will continue with proclamations. Is the representative for the National Athletic Trainers Month here? She was supposed to be present. Okay, then not, we'll proceed to the next meeting. I'd like to invite my worthy Grand Knight for the Knights of Columbus, Fernando Ramirez, and any other members of the Knights of Columbus, the City Commission. I know Commissioner Triani and myself, we are Knights of Columbus also here at 1553 and Christ the King, respectively. So we'll ask everybody to please join us so that we can take part in this proclamation celebrating the 100th year anniversary of Council 1553. Thank you. The following is a proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, recognizing the Knights of Columbus, Bishop Adolph A. Marks, Council 1553, on his 100th year of service in our community, and further declaring March 14th through the 20th, 2011, to be Knights of Columbus Week in our city. Whereas the Knights of Columbus, Bishop Adolph A. Marks, Council number 1553, was chartered in the city of Brownsville on March 5th, 1911, and has a history of 100 years of continuous service to this community. And whereas countless services have been rendered by this organization, as well as a wide range of special projects for the benefit of the entire community. And whereas we gratefully acknowledge the accomplishments of the Knights of Columbus, Bishop Adolph A. Marks, Council 1553, which has contributed to much of the ways of the leadership, personal service, and monetary assistance to the community during these past 100 years. Now therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the Charter of said city, and on behalf of all our citizens, do hereby recognize the Knights of Columbus, Bishop Adolph A. Marks Council on 1553 on its 100 years of service, and further declare March 14th to the 20th, 2011 to be Knights of Columbus Week in our city, done this 15th day of March 2011, and signed by the mayors of the city and the City Commission. Thank you. Our esteemed Grand Knight Fernando Ramirez, if you would please give us a couple of words.
Honorable Commissioners, I thank you for this great honor that you have bestowed upon us. My name is Fernando Ramirez. I am the Grand Knight of Council 1553. This is indeed a great honor for us. I'm a member of the Knights of Columbus. We're 1.8 million members in the whole world, and about 84,000 here in Texas. We have a lot of distinguished members who belong to our council and other members of the Knights, like Brother Longoria and Brother Triani. They're members of the Knights of Columbus. We also had a member, Judge Garza, Reynaldo Garza, was also a member of the Knights of Columbus. He was very instrumental in making our council what it is today. And we're celebrating 100 years of helping our community, our state, and of course this great city of ours. I'd like to say that I'm very honored to be amongst you guys who are leaders in our community, and I know that you have given us your time and your efforts and stuff to make this a great city, and I want to tell you that I admire you, and I wish you the very best, and I thank you for this award. Thank you very much.
That's why we have you do it.
No, it's just no, it's just
I received a message on behalf of Mayor Pat Ahumada to please be excused, and he is having knee surgery, I believe, and that is the reason for his absence. He sends his regrets and apologies. Consent agenda items.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Edward Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Rose Gowan. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We will go on to public comment, and we're going to begin with former Commissioner. Regular agenda, action items, number 6, please.
Action item number 6, consideration and action on resolution number 2011-015, honoring Jaime Jorge Zapata, a native of Brownsville, Texas, for his courage, dedicated service, and ultimate sacrifice to his community, state, and nation.
Commissioner Atkinson?
Yes, we put this on the agenda, basically, of course, of what happened with Mr. Zapata, passed away, served his country. He's a product of Brownsville. His family's been in my district since before I was ever even a commissioner. Been here for 30 years. That family's been on Coffeeport Road. And, I just felt fitting to want to rename Coffeeport Road after Jaime J. Zapata.
Move to approve?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Edward Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Rosgown. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mayor, would you like for me to read the resolution?
I'm so sorry. Please do.
Okay. A resolution of the City of Brownsville, Texas, supporting the renaming of Coffeeport Road after Jaime Jorge Zapata, a native of Brownsville, in honor of his courage, dedicated service, and ultimate sacrifice to his community, state, and nation. Whereas Jaime Jorge Zapata was born and raised in Brownsville, Texas, educated in the Brownsville Independent School District, and graduated from the University of Texas at Brownsville and Texas Southmost College, and then made a decision to serve his country by joining the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement in 2006 as a special agent. Whereas Jaime Jorge Zapata served on the Human Smuggling and Trafficking Unit, as well as the Border Security Task Force in Laredo, Texas, before being assigned by ICE to a diplomatic mission in Mexico City. And whereas on February the 15th, 2011, U.S. Special Agents Jaime Jorge Zapata and Victor Avila were traveling as diplomats between Mexico City and Monterrey in a car that displayed diplomatic plates when they were stopped at a cartel checkpoint manned by members of Los Zetas, a criminal organization, armed with automatic weapons and machine guns. And whereas, notwithstanding the fact that U.S. Special Agent Jaime Jorge Zapata and Victor Avila clearly identified themselves as diplomats, they were attacked by members of the cartel who sprayed the inside of their vehicles with automatic gunfire. And whereas U.S. Special Agent Jaime Jorge Zapata died in the service of his country as a result of this vicious and cowardly act, and whereas the City of Brownsville wishes to honor the heroism and sacrifice of U.S. Special Agent Jaime Jorge Zapata in a manner that will create a lasting impression of his memory. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas hereby resolves that Coffeeport Road in Brownsville, Texas shall be immediately renamed Jaime J. Zapata Avenue, and that this resolution shall be and become effective immediately upon its adoption by the City Commission. Adopted, approved, and accepted by the City Commission at a regular meeting thereof, held on Tuesday, March the 15th, 2011.
And I just want to add real quick to that, the family, if you know the family of the Zapata family, I worked with Jaime's brother with Customs for many years. They're a humbled family. There was talks about, I know Commissioner De Leon was trying to help me rename it International Boulevard after him, but with, if you know this family, Commissioner, they're real humbled, and you know they're real humbled. They're just happy that the city's just remembering their child. You know, they're not out for the glory of International Boulevard. The mom will be able to step out her doors and see her son's name on that, and they're just humbled. They're a very humbled family, and you know, the tragedy of this is just, it's not ever, this is not gonna do anything but just me try to put a little wound on, because they're hurting. They're a hurting family. They're a real tight family, and I'm sure they're very appreciative that the city commissioners and city staff, I want to thank Robert Esparza for doing all this, and I think it's a great thing.
Thank you. Action item number 7.
Commissioner, if I may, Commissioner, you're right. I would have loved to have seen International Boulevard named for his honor, since it goes straight into the bridge. He deserves no less than that. I firmly believe that his life was taken in the early stages of his youth, and he was sacrificed. I honestly believe that. You already read in the paper that the government of Mexico is suing our government for allowing those weapons to go across. And they've caught some people in Dallas. I don't know whether the ones that are guilty of putting those arms on the hands of those guys that assassinated him. But it's not done yet, and I feel very strongly that I would love to see a better thoroughfare in his honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 7.
Item number 7, consideration and action to authorize the City of Brownsville to apply for grants from the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Save More Lives $100,000 Challenge.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, this is essentially authorizing us to apply for the challenge, the 100K challenge. The money, should we meet this challenge, would come back to improve the conditions at the shelter or expand the shelter. But this is merely asking your authorization to proceed with this challenge.
I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Rose Gowan, seconded by Commissioner Charlie Atkinson. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Item 8, consideration and action on the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation project funding recommendations for fiscal year 2011.
Is there anybody in the council that wishes another update other than the report that Director Barrera gave already?
Would approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Charlie Atkinson, second by Commissioner Triani. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Doctor.
Item number 9, consideration and action to adopt ordinance number 2011-1540 to authorize the issuance of approximately $470,000 in principal amount of City of Brownsville, Texas tax notes, Series 2011A, securing the payment thereof by authorizing the levy of an annual ad valorem tax, and approving and authorizing the execution of a paying agent registrar agreement, a purchase contract, an investment letter, and all other instruments and procedures related thereto.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Commission, this is the third series of tax notes that we are asking you tonight to approve, and this will be for $470,000. And it'll be called the Tax Note Series 2011-A. If you recall, several months ago, or a year ago, several years ago, there was a resolution, reimbursement resolution that was approved by the City Commission for us to pay for certain capital expenditures from the general fund, and as soon as the debt would be issued, that the general fund would be reimbursed. And this is listed there in that particular scale. These are the expenses that were on for capital expenditures that were authorized by the City Commission, and we spent $2.4 million. We've already issued two series. The one in the asterisk, that was December 2010. The A's was in January 2011, and tonight, which will be sold on April the 2011, assuming that you approve this ordinance. The rates that we actually are paying for the 2010 series, which is again a very good rate of 3.13%. The one for January 24th was 3.35%, and tonight the winning bid was for 3.177%. On March 8th of this year, Estrella Hinojosa, our financial advisor, distributed RFP, request for proposals, to 8 private placement providers on behalf of the city. The purpose of the RFP was to solicit responses in order to obtain the lowest borrowing cost for Tax Note Series 2011A. Then on March 14th, bids were received. There were 3 banks that submitted bids. There were BBV Compass at an interest rate of 3.1771. In this case, the winning bid. The other bank was the Independent Bankers Bank at a rate of 3.825%, and Capital One Public Funding for a rate of 3.94. Obviously, the winning bid here is the BBV Compass Bank for 3.1771. And this is, in case some of the audience might want to know what tax notes are. Tax notes are debt obligations similar to GO bonds or COs, which are secured with pledge of annual ad valorem taxes. The city is authorized to issue tax notes under state law, Chapter 1431, to acquire, construct, equip public improvements such as what we are financing or what we were intending to reimburse the general fund with the proposed tax notes. And then tax notes are similar to COs in that no election is required. Unlike COs, there is no publication requirement. So again, tonight, we're asking you to approve this particular ordinance so that we can issue the particular tax notes. You have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions of our CFO? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Melissa Zamora, seconded by Commissioner Edward Camarillo. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 10, consideration and action to adopt ordinance number 2011-1541 to authorize certain actions relating to outstanding obligations designated as City of Brownsville, Texas Utility System Commercial Paper Notes, Series A, including approval of a third amendment to letter of credit reimbursement agreement, approval of an updated offering memorandum relating thereto, and enacting other provisions incident and dealing with related matters.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Commissioners. My name is Andrew Garcia, Chief Financial Officer for Brownsville PUB. Brownsville PUB has a $50 million commercial paper program that provides short-term debt financing for electric, water, and sewer improvements, system improvements. The financing program is backed with a letter of credit from State Street Bank and Trust, which is due to expire July 1st of this year. We extended it back in 2008 for 3 years, and it's fixing to expire this year. State Street has offered has made an offer to extend it for an additional 3 years through July 1st, 2014, and that's why we're here to seek your authorization for that extension, 3-year extension. Mr. Jorge Garza with Estrella Hinojosa has some information on the letter of credit market conditions, as well as some of the details on the offer from State Street Bank.
Thank you, Commissioners. Let me see if I can advance this. The letter of credit that supports the commercial paper that is issued by the Public Utilities Board is coming up for expiration, as Leandro stated. Today's market is very different from what it was in 2008 after the financial crisis. We're aware of one thing, that while the market is different, the effect on the PUB is that we will see an increase in the cost of supporting the commercial paper. The good part of it is that short-term borrowing, as you know from your investments that you make for the city, are currently costing very, very low amounts of interest. I believe that 0.35%, that is less than a third of 1%, is what the commercial paper is costing. So in effect, even though the bank letter of credit that supports the commercial paper is going to go up, all in all, the costs are still extremely favorable for the short-term borrowing vehicle. The current letter of credit is from State Street Bank and Trust Company. It's in the amount of $50 million, and it's currently in two components: 35 basis points for what is not used and 65 basis points. That's less than 1%, 0.65, for what is used. The terms are on March, July it expires, and by March 1st, we had to give them notice of a consideration for an extension, and that was done as approved by the board of the Public Utilities Board. Next item is what has been negotiated in going forward and requesting an extension. These are the price points that were submitted by State Street Bank. Highlighted in yellow is what we desire, what we've recommended the Public Utilities Board to accept. That's 3 years at a flat rate of 105 basis points. Because the amount that will be outstanding is going to be closer to $35 million, the math works out better to accept a flat rate than a two-tiered or two components of utilized and unutilized in rate. Here's some comparables. Very recent, North Texas Tollway Authority, it's a toll authority, received a 2.5-year letter of credit for $100 million from J.P. Morgan. It's a very similar facility to what we're considering here. They received 120 basis points compared to the 105 that we're considering. We also serve as advisor to Denver International Airport, and in the table you can see the three different prices they received: 125, 130, and 120 for 3 years, an identical credit rating to the PUB. We've seen that the price for this that's coming up that is offered from State Street Bank is competitive. They like the relationship that they have with the city of Brownsville, and in extending it, one other consideration why we are making this recommendation is we do not have to go through renegotiating terms and conditions that would be a little tighter if we went out and did a complete RFP. We've seen that from several facilities we've negotiated for other entities, and in this extension there has been basically a complete acceptance of what the city negotiated in 2005, in 2008, the extension, and now in 11. So based on those conditions and the what I believe is an affirmative, aggressive price we can recommend, we are suggesting that you approve the extension and have taken that to the board, and the board is now bringing it before you. I'll be glad to entertain any questions.
There's no questions by the council. I'll ask for action.
Would approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Edward Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Rosgado. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Item 11, consideration and action to authorize Allied Waste residential garbage rate increase effective April 1, 2011, as authorized by contract.
Honorable Mayor, Pro Temp, members of the City Commission, this is just an acknowledgement. We do have a contract with Allied Waste BFI whereby the rates can go up to a maximum of 5% based on the Water and Sewer Trash Collection Service Index. The actual rate increase is 6.12% based on the index, but they can only go up to 5%. But since the city of Brownsville is not included, we're not including the portion of the city, the actual amount is 3.8. The contract expires March 31st, 2015. That's a typo. It's instead of 2005. This particular schedule shows the current rates that will end on March 31st of this year. For one container curbside, the monthly rate is $18.53. Allied Waste keeps $14.07. The city keeps $4.46. On the two container side, the current rate is $23.77. Of that, $18.05 is Allied Waste and $5.72 is the city. That's what the city keeps. On the back door or walk-in, the monthly rate is $26.10, of which Allied Waste is $19.82 and the city is $6.28. If we go to the center of this particular schedule, you'll see that the increase on the monthly rate will be 70 cents for the one container curbside. In other words, the monthly rate will go from $18.53 to $19.23. And if you move along to the two container curbside, the increase is 90 cents. It'll go from $23.77 to $24.67. On the back door or walk-in, the rate will be $27.09 from $26.10. Again, it's a 99-cent increase. BFI or Allied Waste gives 5%, but the net effect is a rate increase of only 3.8. And again, we're asking you to acknowledge this particular rates that will become effective on April 1st, 2011.
Once again, Mr. Gonzalez, I'd like you to reiterate and to please state for the record that this is in essence part of our contract. This is not an actual hike that the City Commission is proposing. This is something that is already as per our contract with Allied Waste and with
Yes,
development.
the answer is yes.
And Mr. Gonzalez, it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that this rate increase is annual? Is it an annual?
Depends on, that depends on the index. If there's an increase in the index, and there's an increase.
So when was the last increase? When was the last increase?
The last one was December 2009.
If there's any more questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Melissa Zamora, seconded by Commissioner Charlie Atkinson to approve. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Item 12, consideration and action on resolution number 2011-028 in support of state legislation making pet theft a felony.
Commissioner Zamora, would you like to elaborate on this?
Move to table this item.
I have a motion to table by Commissioner Zamora.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 13, consideration and action on resolution number 2011-029 opposing state legislation which would preempt the City of Brownsville's plastic bag ordinance.
Commissioner?
Move to table.
Second.
I have a motion to table by Commissioner Zamora, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 14, consideration and action on resolution number 2011-030 revising the terms of board members serving on the Special Needs Advisory Board.
Commissioner Atkinson?
Yeah, we passed this resolution, I think a couple of years ago. But the way, the revision just adds an ex-official board member of the City Commission on that board. And it just helps, like, because every commissioner will have an appointment to give them, instead of just 2 years, 3 years, so they can really get something going before they have to go through reappointments. So that's all we did to the revision on that. So
You're giving them a 4-year term.
a 4-year term the first time, and then after that, it's 2 or 3 years after that, their reappointments on whoever you appoint. Just so they can get the ball going, because it's a new board.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion for Commissioner Triani, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 15.
Item 15, consideration and action to authorize the City of Brownsville's application to the Texas Safe Shelter Initiative.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, City Commission, the item before you relates to the Texas Safe Shelter Initiative. I've got a presentation I'll try to go through here fairly quickly to describe this program to you. This is a state of Texas program that is based on Hurricane Ike disaster recovery funds. As you're well aware, the City of Brownsville, along with the majority of cities along the Texas Gulf Coast, especially here in South Texas, have to move our residents out of town, out of harm's way in the face of a major hurricane. Currently, the state of Texas has worked with Brownsville and other communities, especially in Cameron and Willacy County, to make space available in shelters in San Antonio so that we can evacuate our residents there. That entails the use of a large number of school buses, over-the-road coaches, is very expensive, is very time-consuming. One of the things that we have been stating from the Brownsville side for several years to the state of Texas is that if they would spend some of the money that they're utilizing for bus reservations for shelter development here in the city of Brownsville, it would make it easier for us to keep our residents here, to keep them out of harm's way, and to do away with the logistical nightmare that we have every time we have to work through moving people a long distance. After Hurricane Ike, the state of Texas came out with this program, and to give you an idea of what this is, the state wants to fund the construction of dome structures. These are monolithic domes. I'll show you a picture here in just a second. These structures will be able to withstand wind speeds of over 200 miles per hour. 75% of the base construction cost is a FEMA grant, and we'll talk in more detail about exactly what that means. But the construction of these domes would allow us to shelter local residents here locally in stronger facilities than what we've been able to do in the past. To give you an idea, also quickly, you'll see on the top bullet there, total construction cost. This is not divided between the 75-25, but total construction cost of the shell of these structures is $110 a square foot, which is significantly less than comparable construction for a standard building that would withstand wind speeds of this sort. When you take into consideration the fact that there's only 25% that has to be paid locally, you're looking about $28 a square foot for construction local cost. This is an example of a 15,000 square foot monolithic dome. To give you an idea, the base ring of this building is concrete walls. The dome itself is actually concrete. The entire building in all locations is at least 5 inches thick, solid concrete. They're very sturdy buildings. The fact that it's all concrete also makes them incredibly energy efficient, which is a nice little side effect of these. The dome on the top right corner is from Woodsboro, Texas. That's actually the closest existing structure to the city of Brownsville. City staff has gone up at least, I want to say, 3 times to look at this dome and meet with the superintendent of the school district and get more information from their architects and their staff in relation to the construction. This is an example from the inside of one of these domes to give you an idea of one of the potential uses. They can be used for basketball courts, volleyball courts, meeting rooms, theaters. FEMA does not care what we use the domes for when they're not being used as a shelter. We can make money off of it. We can use it as a theater and charge admission. We can use it as a conference center and charge rental fees for the use of the room. Doesn't matter. The only requirement is that 80% of the floor space has to be available for use for cots. We can use the stage, we can use the basketball gymnasium floor and so on and so forth, but 80% has to be available for use, cottable space, if you will. To give you an idea, using FEMA numbers for a long-term sheltering mission in a 20,000 square foot shelter, which is the maximum size that is available for these, and there's a little caveat to that I'll share with you, 800 people. For a short term, if you're just trying to get people in, out of a storm, kind of standing room only, you could fit right about 3,200 people in each one of these individual domes. Again, very safe, very secure. Allowable costs, the dome superstructure, the brick veneer, heating and air conditioning is included in the cost that FEMA will match. Plumbing, electrical, an emergency generator, handicap parking, sidewalks, curbing, and force account labor summaries. There are some things that are unallowable in the FEMA portion of it, which includes floor treatments, the wall treatments. If we make this into a gymnasium, for instance, the gym floor, the scoreboard, the bleachers, none of that is eligible to be reimbursed by FEMA. Only the shell of the structure itself, air conditioning, generator, lights, in short, and plumbing. So here's where we are right now. Stage 1 is completed of this process for the city of Brownsville. We have submitted a letter to the state of Texas telling them we want to participate in this process. They have agreed to that. We have submitted information on each of the sites, which I'll share with you in just a few minutes. Stage 2 includes an outline of the shelter operations plan that has been completed for each one of these sites, which explains exactly who's responsible for what at each of these sites should we go through with the process. And Stage 3, which is the final stage, requires a senior executive official to sign the application and financial certification. That has to be done by the end of this month, which is why the item's on the agenda tonight. Briefly, here's the city of Brownsville. I'll overlay the proposed dome sites. There are 10 of them. You'll see that 8 of them are white, 2 of them are in a greenish color, and I'll go through each of these in just a bit. But to give you an idea of the sites, this is the city limits in red. So you can see all the sites have been verified to be within the Brownsville city limits. This slide shows you in blue all of the 100-year floodplain zones within the city. We verified that all of these sites are in fact outside of the 100-year floodplain. This is the 500-year floodplain in pink, and they all also exist outside of that. This is an economic indicator. This is based on 2010 median income for the area. The darker blue colors are the lower household income areas, and you'll see for the most part these dome sites are located within the lower income areas of the city. Here is a summary of the particular sites. Central Boulevard, Southmost Library, both of those library sites have been proposed. There are 4 sites that have been proposed as gymnasiums: the Brownsville Sports Park, Tony Oliveda Park, Montebello Park, out on Alton Glore, and then Cavalier Park. There's also 2 proposed sites at the Brownsville Airport. It should say Airport 1 and 2. Both of those proposed as aircraft hangars. And then down at the bottom, you'll notice there are 2 additional sites, which are private schools here in the city of Brownsville, who have also expressed interest in this program. The program is available to municipal governments, to school districts, to private schools, to universities, and to hospitals. BISD has been approached. They have told us that they cannot participate in the program because of funding issues. The University of Texas, TSC, has told us the same thing. These two private schools have told us that they are interested. In addition to this, the IDEA public school system expressed interest. We did, however, go through and review their site and found that their location is within the 100-year floodplain and was removed from the list by the state of Texas. So the list that you have on your agenda item includes IDEA Academy, but that has since been removed. I can go through each one of these sites, and I've got a little map that shows the locations, but I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have them at this point. In short, the request tonight is to authorize the City of Brownsville to apply for this Texas Safe Shelter Initiative with these 10 sites. The application would include a complete packet for each site. This is one packet that's almost complete for one of these sites. There's quite a bit of paperwork involved in the process. This will also include a completed memorandum of understanding between the City of Brownsville and each of the two private entities that are interested in participating, which will spell out what they're responsible for and what the city is responsible for in this process. And I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
I'd move to approve.
Second. I have a motion by Commissioner Triani, seconded by Commissioner Zamora. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chef.
Item 16, consideration and action on resolution number 2011-031, making findings in connection with the proposed West Morrison Road Public Improvement District related to the advisability of the improvements, the nature of the improvements, the estimated cost of the improvements, the boundaries of the proposed district, the method of assessment, and the apportionment of cost between the district and the city as a whole, and making other findings related to the matter.
The City Commission previously had approved a Economic Development and Transportation Infrastructure Agreement, which was an agreement between us, which dealt with the construction of the Morrison Road improvements, all right? What we talked about before was that we were going to have to set up a PID, and one of the first steps in doing that is to create a resolution doing certain factual findings, and those are spelled out by statute. One of those is the nature of the public improvements. The nature of the public improvements will be the extension of West Morrison Road from its current terminus at US Highway 77 to Alton Glover Boulevard. The proposed method of apportionment of the cost of the improvements between the district and the city is set out in the Economic Development and Transportation Infrastructure Agreement, which has already been approved by the Commission. The boundaries of the proposed assessment, the PID, would extend to the limit of the real property owned by the land developers who own the real property fronting the proposed extension of West Morrison Road. The estimated total cost of the improvements, and this is just an estimate, would be $4.6 million at the top, and the proposed apportionment of the cost would be 50-50 between the PID, which would raise the money as previously discussed between the assessments and the city.
So they're not going to give upfront money to fix this road?
Excuse me, Commissioner?
They're not going to give upfront money to fix this road. The city's going to put in 2 point something, and we have, in this agreement, it stipulates that the West Morrison Road developers will put in the other $2 million. Is it upfront, or they're going to make it through during this PID?
Well, the developers would put up a certain amount of money guaranteed up front. I think they've already committed to $1 million. And then, as we previously discussed, monies might be advanced to the city, but would come back to the city in the form of levies. So, in other words, the city would be protected not only through the levies, through the assessments that would be made through the PID, but where there would be liens on the property, but the city would also be protected by the guarantee, the corporate guarantee of the Morrison owners. So basically, the city's more than adequately protected. The city's doubly protected for the money that it's forwarding on the project. Dennis, add to it.
You can't add much more than that. The $1 million will be put up immediately toward this effort. And then one thing that wasn't mentioned, that on the other side, there's another $1.5 million that's being put up by the developers to build Laredo Road. So they could have used some of that money to do West Morrison, but they're doing both roads at once. So the Santander project is going to put up $1.5 million to build Laredo Road.
Are you talking about the East Morrison Road?
No,
West
Laredo Road.
So, okay, your developers are coming up with another $1.5 million for a railroad?
No,
Uh,
for
For
Laredo.
Laredo.
Laredo Road.
For Laredo Road, I'm sorry,
Railroad.
sir.
And again,
Laredo Road, yeah.
Mr. Sanchez is pointing that out, but that's not part of this deal.
Does the PID ever
developers are
end?
doing Laredo Road on their own with
Will
no
the,
input from
I
the
know
city.
that,
Part and separate.
yeah.
Right.
But will this PID last for how long, or,
Only as long as it takes to build the road and collect the balance of the money.
and there's an exit to this? Because I know we have the PID with the Paseo de la Saca that is still in effect.
But that's a different type of.
That's an ongoing.
different type of
That's
PID?
an ongoing deal. The only purpose for the PID is for the assessments and the construction of the road itself.
Okay.
And then once the purpose for the PID was
There you go.
gone.
That's all I
the PID-
needed to
the
be
PID would
said. Yeah.
Go away.
Go away.
Yeah, it'll go away.
So
Move
the-
to approve.
Second.
I have motion approved by Commissioner Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Zamora. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
I have one question.
Sure.
Staff recommends that we approve this, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Then I vote aye.
All right, motion passes.
Item 17, consideration and action on resolution number 2011-032, authorizing the establishment of the West Morrison Road Public Improvement District in the city of Brownsville, Texas, authorizing the publication of this resolution, providing for the preparation of a service and assessment plan, appointing directors to the board of the PID, and making other provisions related to the subject.
Okay, in the last item, basically you made factual findings which would allow you to create the PID in this resolution. This resolution basically creates the PID, and then later, in terms of the items appointments to boards, you're going to be asked to appoint 4 specific members to the PID board.
Move to approve.
And when will we be asked to appoint members?
It's on the next
on the
item on the
next
agenda,
item.
and under boards and commissions.
All right, so I have a motion by Commissioner Atkinson, seconded by Commissioner Zamora. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next item, please.
Item 18, consideration and action to appoint 2 citizens to the Brownsville Citizens Advisory Committee.
Mr. Medina.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem. We're ready to begin our annual allocation of funds to projects of entitlement grants by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. There are 2 vacancies in our Citizen Advisory Committee. One is by the mayor, and another one is by Commissioner Zamora.
Commissioner, do you have an appointment with, on file already?
Is it the appointment to replace Mr. Grove?
I believe so, yes.
It is?
Yes.
That individual was supposed to have been Melinda Arizmendi since last year, and I don't know how that fell through the cracks.
So you want to appoint her?
Correct.
She's already been appointed, correct?
She had already been appointed.
She's already been appointed. Okay, and I think we'll just,
Which one's the mayor's?
He has a vacancy.
But who's vacant? Who left?
He had a vacancy last year. He never filled that position.
Okay, because I think Laura Garcia Cakeland, I think she moves, and that's my appointment, so I'll bring you back someone and get a resignation letter from her, because I think she left Brownsville. Just to put.
So you have that vacancy as well?
Yeah. You do have that vacancy right now? No.
Well, if she left, yeah.
Yeah, I'll
For the next
prepare for
meeting.
you. Yeah, I think she left out of town, so 98% sure. So.
okay, Ben,
Will
if
the
you would-
table?
Second.
We made an appointment.
Well, you're going to confirm Ms. Arizmendi as being on that board?
Do the confirmation on Ms. Arizmendi, and Commissioner, would you
Second.
retract the
Second.
motion?
Yes, I retract the motion.
Okay, we'll have a confirmation on Ms. Arizmendi, and we will wait for the mayor at the next meeting so that he can make his appointment, or wait until after the election.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 19.
Item 19, consideration and action to appoint 7 members to the Special Needs Advisory Board as per resolution number 2011-030.
Commissioner Atkinson, would you like to table until people turn in their,
I've already turned in mine, and that
Okay, you
was for Sergio Zarate,
okay.
Second.
and I would move to have him appointed.
Second.
We have a motion for Mr. Sergio Zarate. All in favor, answer by saying aye. Aye.
And then he will be vacating the P and Z, so if we can get him on for the next, or my vacancy on the P and Z for next time, so I can fill that spot.
We also have an appointment of Alice Arambola.
She submitted her application?
Yes, she's had one.
What was
She's
her
been
name
on
again?
Boards before, Alice Garcia Arambola.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zamora, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody
And the
else?
rest of the council will.
There's a Stephen Paul
Yeah,
Chamberlain, who is a professor at UTV, I believe he's in the special education department, and that was here on my desk. I'm not sure who's,
Okay, so special needs board.
I'll make the motion as my appointee, appointment.
Okay, Commissioner
Board Chamberlain?
Yes.
Camarillo will be Steve Chamberlain. And if the rest of the council, including myself, will make our appointments at the next city commission meeting in April. All in favor for Steve Chamberlain?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 20, please.
Item 20, consideration and action to appoint 4 members to the West Morrison Road PID as per resolution number 2011-032.
We had previously you've adopted the factual findings, you've created the PID, and now you're going to appoint 4 members to the board. I think Mr. Sanchez has some requests in terms of who might be appointed, but I would simply ask that the board be balanced evenly, with 2 members be representatives of the city, and then 2 members being representative of developers that work there.
We were going to suggest that Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Medina be on the board, and then I was going to suggest that Jose Perez, who is the president of Hispania Development, one of the developers, and Mr. Jorge Ibarra, the other developer, be on the board. So be 2 and 2.
That's a conflict.
What's your conflict, Commissioner?
It's one of the other developers, it's part of your agreement that's going to be on this board?
Yes, since it's going to be a 50-50 deal.
I would like to, as an outside member of the city, to appoint Bob Torres Jr. He expressed a lot of interest and has property in that area, and would like to be part of that board as an outsider who will represent some of the property owners on that area too. And he's unbiased.
Mr. Sanchez, as per the guidelines established, do you concur with that, or is that something that does not comply with the guidelines?
Well, we don't have a problem with that.
You don't have a problem with it?
No.
Okay.
I would suggest then it be Mr. Ibarra, Mr. Torres, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Medina.
Do you retain the right to, that your appointments on the PIDB, for this particular PIDB, that your 2 appointments be your 2 appointments not appointed by the council or appointed by the council?
We're not asking,
No, I think
I'm
that's-
just making a suggestion only.
Okay.
The city commission has the discretion to appoint who it chooses.
Not a problem.
I would respectfully suggest that if you're going to add 1 member who's a property owner out there, that we appoint 1 additional city member so we have 3 and 3. Otherwise, you're going to have a situation where the developers outnumber the city.
How often are they going to
he's
be?
switching
They're going
one.
to replace Mr.
Okay, that's
Garcia
fine. I
with
mean,
Mr.
as long as, the only position legal has is that the interest of the city and the interest of the
They'd be
property
split
owners
50-50.
be balanced.
Right.
Other than that, it's up to.
How long are terms and how often will they meet?
We're going to plan on meeting about every 2 weeks for the first 2 or 3 months to get the project started, and then it'd probably be once every couple of months.
Pete,
Basically, we were,
What is the term of the board, though? I guess that's what the question is.
for
Is it
about,
gonna be until
not more than 2 years, because
years?
the construction build-out time is about 14 months.
Pete, are you okay with serving on this board?
He doesn't have a choice.
What's he gonna say, no?
All right, make the motion to approve Commissioner Atkinson's appointment.
I make a motion to approve Pete Gonzalez and Bob Torres Jr., and then y'all can figure out the rest, the other 2.
Well, I think the other one
I
was
think-
Medina and Mr. Ibarra, no?
Right.
Okay.
So approve all 4 of
So
them.
let's all do.
Move to approve all 4 of those.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion for Pete Gonzalez, Bob Torres Jr.,
This one I'm not.
Ben Medina and Mr.
Jorge
Ibarra.
Ibarra.
And I'd ask that you specify for a 2-year term.
And it-
Ben
it's
Medina
for a
and
2-year
Jorge
term.
Ibarra, for a 2-year term, as stated by Commissioner Triani for the record, seconded by?
Second.
Commissioner
Seconded by
Camarillo?
Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Item number 21, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of a portable generator for the city of Brownsville.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Second, that was fast.
All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Good one,
And just
Robert.
for the record, it indicates that staff approves that on the bottom on section 21.
Okay, so it's a motion by Commissioner Triani, seconded by Commissioner Zamora. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item
Motion
2, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of a bomb response vehicle for the city of Brownsville Police Department.
So moved. It says staff approves that.
Motion by Commissioner Triani,
I think we just got designated as
Second.
qualified or certified as a bomb squad. Is that correct?
By the FBI.
That's correct.
seconded by Commissioner Gowan. All in favor, answer by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Motion adjourned?
Item 23.
23, 24.
Oh,
Two more
sorry about
items.
that. We're on a roll here.
Item 23, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of a gas identification system for the City of Brownsville Fire Department.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, City Commissioners, staff recommendation is to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of a gas identification system for the Brownsville Fire Department to Smith Detention of Connecticut, the distributor of the gas identification system, in the amount of $67,500. Funding for this procurement, it's coming from account number 019111848164, which was created for the 2008 State Homeland Security Program purchase as part of the 2010 SHSP program. Now, this purchase is scheduled to be reimbursed 100%. Emergency Management concurs with this recommendation.
Move approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Atkinson, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor, answer by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Item 24, consideration and action to award a contract for a rail feasibility study for the Brownsville Metropolitan Planning Organization.
Staff recommendation is to award a contract for a rail feasibility study for the Metropolitan Planning Organization, the MPO, to Alliance Transportation Group of Austin, Texas, in the amount of $107,144.28. This contract shall commence upon award by City Commission and shall expire November 30th, 2011. Funding for this project is available from the Texas Department of Transportation under Professional Services on account 01614676.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Camarillo,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Zamora. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Before we conclude,
Thank you.
I just have an announcement from our library that on Wednesday, April the 6th, at the Southmost Library, we will be providing with a new planetarium program. And we're inviting all the children, all the parents, everybody to come along and join us so that they can learn about the mysteries of the universe. So that'll be on Wednesday, April the 6th at 6 p.m. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn
So moved.
by the council. Thank you very much.